Hello everyone, it's me again, and I'm here with another video. Today's video will be, what if the Flash was in Green Lantern the animated series? So, let's begin, shall we? Again, like with the Superman video, I can't really figure out a good place to fit in between episodes, so I'm probably gonna have to say sometime, I don't know, probably after season 1. There would be hints that this is a continuation of my Superman video, I don't really know, so there's that. Now, who could have played Flash? I'm going to perhaps say James Arnold Taylor as Flash. Now, who would be some of the side characters? Iris West would appear. I think Greta Lyle could have been a good choice for Iris. Wally West's Kid Flash would, of course, appear. And I could see Bryce Papenbrook as Wally. I think he'd be perfect. And, of course, Joe West, who I could see being played by maybe someone like James Cromwell, since Joe West, Iris's father, was a police officer, so maybe you could base that off of Captain Stacy in Spider-Man 3. You could base that off of that. Now, as for the villain, it was tricky. But the villain will be Gorilla Grodd, and the side villains will be the Rogues. So the story begins essentially in Star City, where apparently a couple of rogues, Flash's villains, would pop up. And Flash and Kid Flash would pop up to stop them. As for who would play them, they'd be Captain Cold, played by Troy Baker. Mirror Master, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Heatwave, played by Liam O'Brien. Weather Wizard, played by Johnny Depp. Golden Glider, played by maybe someone like Tara Strong. As for Captain Boomerang, I'd say Troy Baker I could also see. Now, apparently, someone would come out and stop Captain Boomerang and would help Flash and Kid Flash stop the rest of the rogues, and they would happen to be Meet Up by Green Lantern, Kilowog, Razor, and Aya. Flash would ask Cal who he is, and of course, they would introduce themselves to each other, and I could even imagine Kid Flash introducing himself to them. And then we see the rogues being sent away to prison, where they then meet the Thinkerer, who I could see being played by Peter Capaldi, who did play him in the Suicide Squad, or maybe someone else like Christoph Waltz, I think. Not too sure who, but I think either one of them could work. Now, due to the Thinkerer's smarts, he plans on an escape plan so they can meet Gorilla Grodd, who I could see being played by Andy Serkis. And maybe you could have the Thinkerer use archive messages to Grodd in a way. Hal would decide to stay with Barry and Wally so he can know them better and get to know them well. This is also where I could imagine him meeting Iris and Joe, and maybe even Wally's parents, but Wally's parents aren't really around, so let's just say the reason why Wally's with his aunt is because his parents died. I could be wrong that his parents aren't dead, I could be wrong, but they are likely dead. And so Hal feels sorry for Wally, but Wally could thank Hal. And of course, Barry even relates to Wally's loss of his parents because that's how he felt, because his mother was killed and his father was framed for the crime. And so Hal decides to have himself and Barry, as well as Kilowog and Razor and Aya, meet up with Mr. Allen, Henry Allen, of course, in jail. As for Henry Allen, I could see maybe Willem Dafoe as Henry Allen. I think he'd be a good choice. We get to learn more about Barry's early life when Hal is talking to Henry. And as they're leaving, an explosion comes out. It's the Rogues, with the newest addition being the Thinker escaping. They try to stop them, but it's no use. And then they take a getaway vehicle, and they get away. Flash face palms because he's always fast in stopping them. But Hal tells Barry, it's okay. We just have to let them go in the meantime. As the vehicle ends up in another place, this is where we get to meet Gorilla Grodd. As Grodd would assemble all 7 of them and tell them about his plan to take over the world. And so the Thinkerer plans on be contacting Atrocitus. And of course, Atrocitus and a few of the Red Lanterns would come. And of course, they would give some of Grodd's gorilla minions Red Lantern power. Meanwhile, back with Barry in the game, Barry is just disappointed that, he can't. He didn't have enough time to stop the villains, as well as Hal. But Iris tells Barry that it's okay, and that she's sure next time they'll make sure. And Kilowog would actually agree with this. And Aya would make sure Barry can get up to his speed. And there can be a train montage between Hal and Barry being taught by Aya, thus showing their progression from strangers to the best of friends as they are in the comics. Even though I like to picture them more as like older brother and younger brother, like in the Lego DC superhero movies, I always like to picture the relationship like that. Because that one scene in Justice League Attack of the Legion of Doom. And I do like to picture Wonder Woman as like their mother figure, to put it lightly. I do like to picture Wonder Woman as like their mother figure. But still. After some training, Wally has to be put up through some training, and he does well. Barry and Hal did better because they're more experienced. Meanwhile, we then see a message from Gorilla Grodd, Atrocitus, and the Thinkerer, as well as some of the Rogues, announcing their plan to destroy Star City with Red Lantern powered gorillas. And then it also turns out that they also have gotten some Manhunter technology in which they reprogram some of the Manhunters to act like gorillas. And then the attack begins. Innocent people are dying. Barry sees the news, and the attack can be similar to the Black Zero event for Man of Steel and the attack in Chicago in Transformers Dark of the Moon. And so Hal and Barry decide that they need to stop this. But they're going to need all the help they can get. Barry, Wally, Hal, Aya, Razor, and Kilowog all come together to take down this huge threat. When they're taking down the Manhunter gorillas, they do a good job, but then they are ambushed by the gorilla Red Lanterns, and of course Atrocitus and some Red Lanterns like the Queen's brother and Lady Bleeze. But given Hal and Kilowog, Razor, and Aya having their experience with them in the past, they would deal with them while Flash and Barry take on Grodd's minions. But then they run into the Rogues. They take down Captain Boomerang as well as Weather Wizard easily. Like, maybe Weather Wizard shoots a strike of lightning at the fire hydrant that hits him. It could also hit Heat Wave. But they have a hard time dealing with Captain Cold, Golden Glider, and Mirror Master. But Green Lantern would help them stop them. And of course, they come face to face with the Thinkerer and Gorilla Grodd. And it's an epic fight. Wally would deal with the Thinkerer while Barry would deal with Grodd. And of course, Hal would deal with Atrocitus. The fights are epic. And in the end, as Flash is losing, Captain Cold comes in and freezes Grodd's arm. And Barry is shocked to see that Captain Cold is helping him. And then Mirror Master also helps. And then they manage to defeat Gorilla Grodd and the Thinkerer. However, Atrocitus and Lady Bleeze and the Queen's brother would escape. But the Rogues and Gorilla Grodd would be sent to prison by Joe West and his police force. Barry thanks Hal for their help, as well as Kilowog, Razor, and Aya. And then Green Lantern and the gang are hailed as heroes in Star City. I could also be them seen as hailed heroes in Metropolis in my Superman video. That will likely continue into my Batman video, which is not supposed to come out until October, but still. Hal tells Barry farewell, and Barry would of course tell Green Lantern that they'll meet each other again someday. And of course, Hal would say something like, "I know, Barry." And then the ship begins to take off into space. And then Flash and Wally would then hear a car vehicle in the background. This would turn out to be someone like the Pied Piper. And so Barry and Wally decide to run in the speed of Flash to go after Pied Piper, ending the episode there. So that's What If Flash was in Green Lantern, the animated series. Now, like I said, I am going to build up to the Justice League, like the MCU and what the DCEU tried to do. I already had everyone in mind. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter. I knew I needed them. But for the last one, I'm still deciding either Aquaman or Green Arrow. If I do Green Arrow, I might need to include Black Canary, since I view Green Arrow and Black Canary as inseparable. But I might post a poll about that by late October to early November. Not too sure when I'll release it in November, but I know the pre-Wonder Woman video will be one of the two, Aquaman or Green Arrow. Not too sure who it is yet, but I might do more videos like this after my Justice League video, which is not supposed to come until January, but alas. Anyways, I'll see you all later.